Hello my friends, we're back again for FPD lighting tutorial number 8. This is going to be a little strange because we're not going to do anything with the light board at all. We're going to look at hardwired lighting. And by hardwired, I mean it's wired straight to switches on the wall somewhere. We can't do anything with it on the board. We can't assign it to other controls. We're stuck wherever it's wired into. So where are we right now? Well, let me turn around a little bit and give you some perspective. All right, here we are. We're actually in the side of the booth. There's the spotlight, the light board. Okay, know where you are now? All right, so we're right by the door that's on the right side as you come into the auditorium from the lobby. And you will see that we have 2 panels that we use right here. They're right over the little rail that goes around the outside of the lighting booth, or the lower booth. All right, so let's talk about this one first. See my shadow there? This one is listed as apron lights. This is actually running 2 ellipsoidal reflector lights, sometimes called LECOs, that are mounted almost directly over my head currently. It's a little dark up there. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus in on them. Not really. When I turn them on, you'll see them a little better. So they're straight up overhead. They're pointing at the front of the stage. And we added these in because you may have noticed a lot of our folks who talk during chapel really like to stand in this front area right in here. The problem with that is that where our lighting is almost directly above it, you can't light it really well without just shining light kind of straight down on their heads. So we had to do something to help light that area. So we installed these lights in back and put it to a quick switch on the wall so it'd be convenient for people. And we use that to light our, largely our speakers for chapel. It can be used for other things as well. So I'm gonna come here, and this is obviously just a slider like you've used other places. But you will notice that right now I'm sliding this thing up and down, and if I point up at the lights, nothing is happening. The reason for that is hiding inside this thing is actually an on-off button that you can't see well. Let me really zoom in. Oh, a little too far. All right. You see how that button has a little push in? You actually push in on it to turn on and off. Then the dimmer itself will work. So if I look straight up, you can now see that one coming on, right? And there's the other one, all right? Down, up, right? And just go to the front. I'm actually going to turn off the house lights for a moment so you can see this better. Okay, there it is, and there it's off. So if some of the light flashes on the stage, but you can see the hot part of that light is right down in front. You can't control this any other way. You can't separate these 2 lights. You either light all of the stage or none of it. Okay, I'm putting this down. Again, it is dimmable, so we do have some range in there. Right? To turn it off, you always want to slide it down and press that button in to turn it off. The reason is these switches can sometimes do some buzzing if you don't turn them off. Most light switches are actually like that, so we're going to slide this down and push that off. If you're not sure if you push that right, you can always wiggle it up and down, see if the lights go. They didn't. So that's our apron lights. For those of you who may have forgotten a little stage terminology, remember the apron is the name for the very front of the stage that's in front of the curtain. So that's why it's called the apron lights. Sometimes I call these the hardwired LECOs because I like to complicate things by using cool terms. All right, now we come up a little bit. You can ignore that box, it's just unused. We get up to this control. This control works our house lights. We had these actually replaced a year ago into LED fixtures. It's pretty self-explanatory when you look at it. An on-off button and an up arrow and a down arrow. The lights in the auditorium are divided into 2 banks. So you'll notice there was 3 lights across the front, 3 lights across the back. The button on your left controls the ones in front. The one on your right controls the ones back here. All right. And now, These are not the easiest dimmers to use. And these things get crazy bright. I'm gonna take these all the way up. It's like looking into the sun. All right, now taking them down, I'm now gonna press the down arrows. I'm pressing them both at the same time. And here we go, pressing them. Here goes that lighting. All right, it stops for some reason here. So for some reason, this thing is not set so you can fade them all the way out. I am hoping that we get that corrected, but until then, it fades out to this level. So if you want to go out any more from this, you have to go back here, press the on-off buttons, and now you're in the dark. Now, remember when you turn them back on, they're going to turn back on where you left them. So if you left them at a nice low dim, they're going to come on at the same low dim. If you turned it off on high, let's put it up there nice and bright. All right. Now we're going to turn them off. Remember, top two buttons. All right, now we'll look up here. I'm going to press those two buttons again. And it comes on just as bright. Now this bright drives me a little crazy, so I'm going to bring it down a few notches to something that's a little less painful. Yeah, that's more like it. All right, I'm going to take a quick walk to another part of the theater, and I will turn the camera back on when I'm there. All right, here we are again. You can see where we just were. I'm now all the way on the other side of the auditorium, over here on the stage left side of the stage, right by the door that goes to the ramp that leads out there by the cafeteria. Okay, you know where that is? All right. So as much as I would love to not talk about these three light switches over here, I need to. Simply because often when you're working lights for a show, someone has accidentally turned these on. These are kind of date back to early in the school when these were put in as aisle lights. I'm going to turn these on. I doubt even all of them are working at the moment. Yeah, you can see a few of them. Do you see that little light right there? All right, a few more up in there. They're small lights. They're kind of lined up over the aisles. They're not very bright. But what will happen if you don't turn them off over here, they will be on for an entire show, and you can't do anything to control them in the booth. So they'll just stay on until you can physically get someone to run down here and turn these switches off. So it's one of the kind of checklists for someone working lighting is to make sure these are not on unless we're using them for some kind of special thing for a show, which doesn't happen much. So they're just normal light switches. Click them all the way off, and you're done. All right? All right. And one other spot we need to find a hardwired light switch. Right now, you can probably guess from this beautiful angle that we are backstage looking at an interesting view of the Beauty and the Beast set. I'll try not to pan the camera around too much and see this pile of props here waiting to be sorted and put away. It just makes me tired. But what we do need to talk about is a light switch that's hiding back here. So we're on the stage right side. Just to put that in perspective, here are these side doors. These are the ones that if we go out, in fact, let's go out, leads us into the art hallway. There's the middle school art building. There's that lobby that heads out over towards the elementary building. All right, that was going to the main lobby, all right? So here we go. It says do not enter, we'll enter anyway, because we can. Now, when you first come in, to your right, there is a large stack of flats, our very large wall units. The light switches I need to talk to you about are hiding all the way back behind here. Maybe with my phone I can get you a little more light on this subject. There we go. These two light switches right here. These control our work lights. The work lights are the fluorescent lights over the stage and also up here over the storage loft. All right, so those lights are controlled from here and from here alone. There is no other way to turn them off, including at the light board. So unless you want fluorescent lights on the whole time, taking away from the lighting effects of your show, these have to be turned off. Usually, for a show, the stage manager or someone backstage has been briefed to turn these off. But I think it's really important that every lighting operator knows about them too, especially since they're kind of hidden back here behind the flats. So know where this is, right on the wall, right beside the double doors. To your right as you come in, to your left as you're heading back out to the hallway. One of them turns off the overhead lighting. One turns off some lighting fixtures that are on the walls. It's really not important to tell the difference between the two because we always use them either both on or both off. Just go to both switches, shut them down. All right, just that easy. So that pretty much takes care of our wander through of our hardwired lighting. It should be mentioned also though that you also need to be aware of any lighting that might be affecting the stage. So if there's a light on, for example, in the scene shop or in the black box, that lighting can sometimes bleed through on stage. So if you're seeing some strange light that you can't identify when you're running light for a show, you know that you may need to ask some folks backstage to turn off a few more lights to make sure it's not ruining the effect. All right, and that ends our discussion on hardwired lighting.